This is part 5 of section 1.5. It's the last little bit. And really here, we're just going to be looking ahead a little bit. I want to remind you about how completing the square works because it is going to come up as a small part in bigger problems. So I'm going to complete the square on these, and then we're going to describe the transformations that would be required to graph it. Right now, in this format, we can't just look at it and know how to move things. Okay, so I know that this is f of x, and a lot of times we don't move things around that. We don't treat it like a y, but I am going to treat it like y. I'm going to move things around, and in the very end, I'm going to try to get f of x equals back, okay? Well, the first thing you need whenever you're going to complete the square is the number in front of your square term cannot be anything other than 1. So I need to divide everything by a -1. So what I have right now is negative f of x is equal to x squared plus 2x. Okay? Now, when we are completing the square, we are supposed to add a number to both sides of the equation. And that particular number, the only one that will work, is you take your number in front of your x term, you divide it by 2, and then you take that number and you square it, which is 1. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Now, if we've done this correctly, this should be a perfect square trinomial, and we can factor it as x plus 1 squared. So already now we have something that looks a little bit more familiar, and all I have to do now is the algebra to get f of x by itself. So coming back over here, I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And now I need to multiply or divide everything by -1 so that I end up with f of x is equal to negative x plus 1 squared plus 1. Now, how would we graph this? We have horizontal and vertical shifts, and we have a reflection. So inside first, because we do horizontal first, this is plus, so we would go left 1. This is outside, so that's an up-down flip, which means it's over the x-axis. And then finally, our vertical, we go up 1. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing here. Our numbers are going to be uglier, but don't let that scare you, okay? If I'm going to complete the square, I don't want a number in front of my square term. So I'm going to divide everything by a 2. Yes, we're going to have some ugly numbers here. Okay, so what I have right here is 1/2 f of x is equal to x squared plus 3x, and 3.5 divided by 2 is 1.75. Now, we didn't have this case over here because there wasn't a constant in the in our original problem like there is here, but we do want to move this over onto this side, so I'm just going to subtract 1.75 from both sides. I'm going to leave myself some space here as well because we're going to add a number to both sides, and I'd rather not recopy. X squared plus 3x. Now we need to find the number that we add to both sides. We do 3, because that's the number in front of our x, divided by 2, which gives us 1.5. And then we square 1.5. And we get 9/4, which is 2.25. So I'm going to add 2.25 to both sides. And It may help you really to think of this as 9/4 since we do have to take the square root of it to factor this. Right now I have 1/2 f of x is equal to, if I do negative 1.75 plus 2.25, I get 1/2. So this is minus plus 0.5 plus. And this factors as x plus the square root of this, which would be 3/2. Or you could have it as 1.5. I have a mixture going on right here. It doesn't matter too much. But do pay attention to what my math lab wants because it's picky, a lot more than I am. Squared. Okay, so now we just need to get the f of x by itself. So I subtract 0.5 from both sides. And just so that I don't have a mix of fractions and decimals anymore, I'm going to write that as 1/2 minus 1/2. And then I need to get this 1/2 off, so I'm going to multiply every single thing here by 2, which gives me f of x is equal to 2 times x plus 3/2 squared minus 1. Now we can use this to talk about how we would graph it. So now we do our horizontal shift first, which is this 3/2. So we would go left 3/2, which is left 1.5. Okay. Then right here, this is going to be a vertical stretch of 2. And then finally the minus 1, and we go down 1. Okay, all of this is coming back in a later section.